Action Rally. We're coming to you live on WLIB 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook and NationalActionNetwork.net. We're live right here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. We're so pleased that you're with us on this Saturday morning, because if it's Saturday, this is where the action is. We are a great program this morning, but first and foremost, our president and founder is the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. The chairman of our board is the Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, senior pastor of Grace Baptist Church in Mount Vernon, New York. I'm Attorney Michael Hardy. Will be with you throughout the broadcast this morning. We are so pleased to have with us today for our inspirational word, Dr. George A. Blackwell III. He's the senior pastor of the Good Neighbor Baptist Church in Newark, New Jersey. Of course, we're very pleased to have with us our youth leader today on the program, Tyleek McMillan, who's an affluent youth and college director. And of course, if it's Saturday, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, is in the house. And of course, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. So call somebody, tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. Brothers and sisters, we want to let you know that the NAN Youth Huddle resumes in-person meetings continuing this Monday, November 9th. The huddle will meet live at the House of Justice Auditorium beginning at 6 p.m. Please spread the word to have your youth join our youth and get into the action with our youngest and brightest dreamers of today and leaders of tomorrow. To RSVP or for more information on the Youth Huddle experience, you can call us at 877-626-4651 or email NANYouthHuddle, all spelled out, at gmail.com. You know, it's Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday, and both days at 5 p.m. You want to make sure that you tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. That is today, Saturday at 5 p.m. and tomorrow, Sunday at 5 p.m. You want to tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. And certainly, there's been a lot of politics in the nation, so you don't want to miss tomorrow, MSNBC with Al Sharpton on Politics Nation. Welcome to all of you who have tuned in and joined us via live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, also live on Facebook at nationalactionnetwork.net. If this is your first time joining us, and or if you're not a member of NAN, we welcome you to NAN and invite you to join us and get into the action today. For more information and to join, you may visit www.nationalactionnetwork.net, call 877-626-4651, or text the word NAN, N-A-N, to 59769. Welcome to you all. Right now, brothers and sisters, our anti-violence report with the Minister, Stephen Marshall, the liaison to the President and the New York City chapter.
Good morning, National Action Network. Good morning. My brothers and sisters, it's yet another week we've made it. Unfortunately, too many of us have perished due to gun violence. I submit to you today the horrifying truth that so far in America, 40,000 people have died by way of a gun. Every year, the amount of deaths is so significant, it is now compared to other terminal illnesses. This week in New York City alone, 15 people shot and killed, and they all look like us. In the past 30 days, at least one person every day gunned down in our neighborhoods, and many of the victims are under 40 years old. What's most significant to me is 3 out of the 5 victims have young children who are left behind, broken from the trauma of losing a parent. This past Thursday, brothers and sisters, in the city of Chicago, 13 shot and 3 people died from their injuries, all in the span of one day. And so one would assume that 13 people shot in a day, it's likely that there was some sort of mass shooting where brothers and sisters, these victims were shot in the span of a few hours all over Chicago's South Side. Many of the victims, unfortunately, were women. The question remains the same, brothers and sisters. What would cause a person to choose a gun as a tool of reason or reconciliation? And so we know that there are no gun manufacturers in our communities. The majority of the guns violence occurs in states where gun laws restrict citizens to open carry. But we must, at the same time, while we challenge the gun laws, or the lack thereof, we must challenge those who pull the trigger that look like us. And so part of that effort happened this week. I was a part of a group of clergy and elected officials who went into several NYCHA public housing developments where shootings are up to show a presence and a real concern and offer solutions and resources to our youth. Brothers and sisters, at some point, we must confront those who are pulling the trigger and get to the root of the problem. This is a much needed first step towards solutions, but it's not over. Gun violence and gun accessibility is a national problem. However, the anti-violence movement will have to be formed like all other movements from the ground up. Block by block. Stay tuned for the next steps on efforts to take our communities back. Sadly, like so many other ills in our community, no one is coming to save us. We literally must do the work to save our brothers, sisters, women, and children, ourselves. And brothers and sisters, we are yet more committed to this cause. No justice.
All right, brothers. Thank you for that, Minister Stephen Marshall. Right now, brothers and sisters, our crisis director, the Honorable William Allen.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Okay, that number that you must remember is 877-626-4651. 877-626-4651. We had an incredible week. You guys all know the great team that we have. And I'm just so happy Brenda Dock, Sister Word, Trevon Butler, Trevonna Marks, Brenda Ricketts, and a host of others that really make Christ really work now across the country. We now have also 10 youth leaders in place working in crisis. They will work with us on Friday. They're serving all the regions, and I'm just really so happy. I want to thank Felipe Dorsa, who's our youth leader in crisis. He's done a tremendous job. And one of the things that they're doing is just doing follow-up of all our crisis cases, and we go through the 4 steps of crisis. First, making sure they have counsel in terms of an attorney. The second step is making sure all crisis victims know who their elected officials are. Very critical, federal, state, and local. Local means the city, town, and county. Making sure that they're aware of the congregations in and around their home and business within a 1-mile radius. And the 4th step is that they must get engaged in a chapter for mentoring. Many of us are so disconnected from civil life, we don't know who's who and who to turn to. So our chapters play a huge role in making sure that folks know who are the people of consequence in their community. We have a particular crisis case. I don't see Victor Pate today. We're going to suspend his report, I guess, this week, but he'll be coming back next week. But we do have a crisis case that Victor has brought to us, the family through Charmaine Dixon. And she's going to speak for about a minute. Ms. Dixon.
Good morning, my name is Charmaine Dixon. On my birthday, 10/12/2019, my son Tamel Dixon was shot on 123rd and 7th Avenue in front of the Juice Bar. Tamel has been a target with NYPD and the correctional system due to my activism. Every time I went on a march or rally, Tamel was brought up on charges to where it eventually landed him in prison for 4 years. While being in prison from Rikers Island to State Correctional, Tamel was beaten and tortured to where I filed suit and won against Rikers Island. Due to lawsuit and I filed a suit against David Terrell. At the time, he worked at 42nd Precinct for my permanent injuries It was brought to my attention on October the 22nd, 2020, that Officer Terrell was working with Londell Smith, a known person to me, and that the shooting was set up, and everybody was down with it, leading to the lethal injection that was given to Tamel on 10/25/2019 and on 10/31/2019 at Harlem Hospital, which caused Tamel's death. For a whole year, I have been asking District Attorney Penfield, did he have any motive for the shooting? His reply was no, until unknown person brought to my attention that District Attorney Penfield paid off Londell Smith to keep his mouth closed. Mr. Penfield only wants to charge one person in this case instead of charging all officers that are involved. Also, my life and my two other children's life has been threatened due to the advocacy about this matter.
Sad matter. And we have more cases that's continuous, so thank you for that. I know that was very hard for you, Charmaine, but thank you for bringing it to this morning. So if you're in crisis and you want to help, there's a lot of folks in our community in a lot of pain. They're looking for guidance and support and direction, and our chapters play a huge role in mentoring and really providing support to a lot of families in pain. So again, that number is 877-626-4651. 877-626-4651. Have a good Saturday.
Brothers and sisters, you know it's Saturday, so that means that our wonderful musical director is on the set and ready to go. Minister Tyrone Richardson.
Jesus, you're the center of my joy. All that's good and perfect comes from you. You're the heart of my contentment. You're the hope for all I do. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. When I've lost my direction, you're the compass for my way. You're the firelight when I'm so cold and dark. You're the voices of the children, our families and our home. You're the source and the finish of my highest dream. Oh Lord Jesus, you're the center of my joy. All that's good and perfect comes from you. You're the heart of my contentment. You're the hope for everything I do. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. When I'm all alone, feeling sad, God, you're the lifter of my head. When I don't know where to go, when I don't know where to turn, I look to the hills, from which cometh my help. It's power, Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, you're the center of my joy.
Tyrone Richardson, our musical director, along with Chris Carlin, accompanying him. Right now, brothers and sisters, want to remind all of you We want you to become a member of National Action Network. Membership is vital to the growth of our organization, its members and supporters that keep NAM prospering so we can reach the needs of the people we fight for every day. Whether it's attending a protest, rally, or demonstration, volunteering an hour of your time in one of our offices, or chairing your own committee, it's you that keeps NAM moving and developing we appreciate your interest and commitment in our fight to pursue justice. If you're not a member, please join today. Log on to the website at www.nationalactionnetwork.net to join the movement today. Right now, brothers and sisters, our LGBTQ chapter announcements and information with Anthony Dulce.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, National Action Network. I gotta raise this up because I'm a little bit tall. Is there a way we can, okay. How are you today? Nice to see you. I'm so happy to be here. Come on, let's hear it. Let's hear it for Nan. Yes, having a good day today, right? I'm here on behalf of Jade Whitehead, Cole Napper, and Reverend Kennedy, and we are part of the LGBTQ committee. And next week, we are having a very special virtual town hall meeting next November 11th from 6 p.m. to 7:30. I hope you guys can join us, guys and gals. And we're gonna have 4 panelists from the transgender community, and we're gonna be asking them how we may better protect and serve the transgender community here in the state of New York. I hope you guys can join us. And the Zoom meeting ID is 861-0235-8714. That's 861-0235-8714. Thank you, and I hope to see you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Right now, brothers and sisters, if you've not reached out to Katrina Jefferson this week with what's on your mind, you can do it right now because she's going to come to you with what's on your mind. Sister Katrina Jefferson.
Good morning, good Saturday morning to each and every one of you who are here in the House of Justice, to those listening via WLIB 1190 AM, and to those that are watching by way of live streaming. Welcome to this weekend's conversation of What's on Your Mind, where you, the community, you, the people, you who are out there have the opportunity to interact with the National Action Network, to engage with us in conversation and share with us your thoughts, your ideas, your concerns by emailing us at whatsonyourmind@nationalactionnetwork.net. Again, that email address is whatsonyourmind@nationalactionnetwork.net. And of course, we all know it's been a very, very, very busy week with the election and everything else going on. By the way, there's still a pandemic out there that people are, of course, working through. And so I know that you will have a lot to share with us today. We'll start with one of our audience members. Good morning. Give us your name. Tell us where you are from and share with us briefly what's on your mind.
Good morning. My name is Brenda Ricketts. I'm from Yonkers, New York. And what's on my mind is, while doing my genealogy research, I found the marriage license for my great-grandmother. Not only was this a noteworthy discovery, it was very important because on the marriage license, they have the names of my great-grandfather's parents, and I didn't have that before. It also shows where the parents were at the time of the marriage. My grandfather's mother was in New York City. Wow. My great-grandfather's father was in Arkansas. And my great-grandmother's mother was in Wilmington, North Carolina with her, but her father was in Savannah, Georgia. So while it answers some questions, it makes more questions. I have to find out why they were where they were at the time when they missed their daughter's marriage.
Absolutely, it's definitely a project to continue for the winter time, and thank you for sharing that. Good morning, give us your name, come forward a few steps, and let us know what is on your mind briefly.
Hi, my name is Ocean, and I'm one of the youth reps in training here at NAN, and I reside in Brooklyn. So what's on my mind is that we had a successful NAN youth huddle with the Honorable Reverend Al Sharpton. He came out and answered questions about his book, Rise Up, and I was so excited, even though it was short. So I hope that, you know, in the future we have future huddles with him, and shout out to you, Reverend. You rock.
Thank you so much, Sister Ocean. Good morning, give us your name, tell us where you're from, and share with us what's on your mind.
Good morning, I'm Reginald Spencer from Brooklyn by way of Mississippi, and what's on my mind is the monumental change in Georgia. I was born and raised in Mississippi, and I do want to say to all of those people out there who feel like our vote doesn't count, I hope that the turn in Georgia is an example to you guys, and I do plan on returning back to Mississippi in about 2 years, and we're going to progress Mississippi forward and turn Mississippi around as well. That's what's on my mind.
Absolutely, thank you so much, Reginald. We're going to close this weekend's conversation with an excerpt from our very own Reverend Al Sharpton's book, Rise Up, which you all should have, but if not, guess what? Every Saturday we do have a signing here after the Saturday rally, unless otherwise noted, so you can purchase it here. And this one is from chapter 1, titled America, Truths, Lies, and the Experiment. President Trump downplayed the catastrophic nature of the virus to the American people, failing the first test of leadership, trustworthiness. In not preparing for its imminent spread, he failed another, preparedness. When state governors pressed President Trump for more medical equipment on a conference call early on in the crisis, our commander-in-chief told them, respirators, ventilators, all the equipment. Try getting it yourselves, pitting the states against one another and most likely leaving the poor ones to fend for themselves. Our democracy is stronger than this president and his lack of leadership. Our values are baked into the founding of this country, and yet they seem to be floundering, and not just on matters surrounding COVID-19. To understand our present-day situation, we must first come to terms with where we are, as a country, have been. And that concludes this weekend's conversation of What's on Your Mind. Keep in mind, you can email your thoughts with us throughout the week at What's on Your Mind at nationalactionnetwork.net or by calling us at 877-626-4651. Back to you, Attorney Hardy.
All right, thank you, Katrina Jefferson, for What's on Your Mind. And right now, once again, our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson.
Hold on, my brother, don't give up. Hold on, my sister, just look up. There is a master plan in store for you. If you just make it through, I'm gonna really blow your mind. He's gonna make it worth your time. For all of the trouble you've been through, the blessing double just for you. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. Hold on, my brother, don't give up. Hold on, my sister, just look up. There is a master plan in store for you. If you just make it through, God's gonna really blow your mind. He's gonna make it worth all of the time, for all of the trouble you've been through. The blessing double just for you. All the best is yet to come. All the best, yes it is. The best is yet to come. All the best is yet to come. The
That's right, that's our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, accompanied by Chris Collins. Brothers and sisters, you're listening to the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally. We're coming to you live on WLIB 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook and nationalactionnetwork.net. We're live right here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. So call somebody, tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house, and he's getting ready to come to you. We'll take our break right now. When we come back, it'll be our youth leader, Tyleek Macmillan, and also our inspirational word from the Reverend Dr. George A. Blackwell. Stay right there, and we'll be right back. All righty. Arts and culture. Arnold Penix.
Good morning, Nan family. This is Arnold Penix, aka A. Gregory Harrison. This is the Nan Arts and Culture Report. In Nan Arts News, the Voter Brigade produced a commercial for the Rise Up book signing with Reverend Al Sharpton at the Nan Youth Huddle on Monday. The Voter Brigade sang, "Rise up, we're gonna fight for freedom. Rise up, we're gonna fight for justice. Rise up, we're gonna make a change. Rise up." And you can get that song right off social media. And next in Nan Arts News is that the Whiteout by Dalen Anderson and directed by Leon Pickney will be produced live on Zoom on November 21st. So you can go to blacktothefuture.com, that's BLK lowercase, the number 2, thefuture.com, to get more information on our official website. And now it's time for the health and wellness forecast. Blacker than black can be, blackety black, the big black man. Black people in America, Trumpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Trumpty Dumpty had a great fall, and all of his lawyers and all of his supremacist men could not put Trumpty Dumpty back in the White House again. And that's my green tea. Weapon-wise, use honey and lemon or cinnamon for your tea as to stay sugar-free. And that's the health and wellness forecast. Support the BNC by newschannel.com. And I'm blacker than black can be, blackety black, the big black man. Wipe the sleep from your eyes, so it's time to get wise. Time for Jesse to run. So let's get it done. Run, Jesse, run! All right, whoa, Jesse, whoa, what you wearing? Eliminate the mystery with some black history.
Barbara Jordan. Barbara Jordan was an African-American lawyer, educator, and politician.
Yes.
Who was a leader of the civil rights movement. Jordan was born February 21st, 1936 in Houston, Texas, to Benjamin and Arlen Patton Jordan. She graduated with honors from Phyllis Wheatley High School in 1952. Because of segregation, she could not attend the University of Texas at Austin, and instead chose Texas Southern University, an historical black institution, majoring in political science and history.
Okay.
Jordan graduated magna cum laude in 1956. She attended Boston University School of Law, graduating in 1959. Jordan successfully won a seat in the Texas Senate in 1966, becoming the first African-American state senator since 1883, and the first black woman to serve in that body. Re-elected to a full term in the Texas Senate in 1968, she served until 1972. Jordan was the first African-American female to serve as president pro tem of the state Senate. To date, she is the only African-American woman to serve as governor of a state. Jordan became one of the ancestors January 17, 1996. She was 59 years old. Thank you, Barbara Jordan, for paving the way for the first black female vice president of the United States.
All right, Kamala, you got some shoulders to stand on, all right? Jesse Owens, Jesse Ren and Freedom Runner. Time to go black to the future. 400 years a slave in the home of the brave. So run, Jesse. Run! Run for our freedom! And that's it! All right, thank you for that, Arnold Penix. As always, we so appreciate arts and culture here at National Action Network. Never to be left unentertained. Well, we're back, brothers and sisters. You're listening to the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally. We're coming to you live on WLIB, 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook and nationalactionnetwork.net. We're live right here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house and getting ready to come to you. Of course, in the 10 o'clock hour, we'll also be live on the Impact Television Network. But right now, brothers and sisters, it is our pleasure to have our NAN Youth and College Division segment leader of our youth committee here at National Action Network, along with the Honorable Ashley Sharpton as Tyleek McMillan, National Youth and College Director for National Action Network.
No justice. No justice. Good morning. Good morning. I'm reminded about a quote that I heard not long ago, and it said, you know, jail does not scare me. It says death does not scare me, but bondage does. And that really stuck with me. And what folks have to understand is you can be free in the physical, but still locked down in the mental. You can be free in the physical, but still locked down systematically. And here we find ourselves here in this moment, free in the physical, but bound to a system that gives justice for some, but not justice for all. And across the country, we have seen millions and millions of people and millions of young people across this country that have given up on a political process that has not met the needs of their demands, that has not met the needs of what they were asking for. And we have seen over and over again a political system that has placed power over people and greed over needs. And you see millions of people have given up on a system that has failed the needs of communities, that have failed the needs of black bodies in healthcare. Over 200,000 Americans dead from COVID-19, that has failed the need for black bodies in education, where a zip code helps determine your mobility in education, that has failed the need of black bodies in business, that has failed to meet the needs of black bodies in housing and food security in communities. And we have seen across this world, and we have seen across this nation, where folks have risen up to this moment and stepped up and spoke truth to power. We have seen over this past week on Tuesday where millions and millions of people have shown up across this country that say that we have had enough of the apologies. We have had enough of the I'm sorries. We've had enough of the thoughts and prayers, but we are demanding action. You see, we're not here to negotiate justice. We're not here to ask for justice, but we are here to demand justice. And that's what we have seen in this moment, where folks are demanding action. And I believe that it's critical as we are, changing the system through people power, that when we give the power back to the people, then folks can trust in the democracy. And we see now when we put the power back in the people and we count every vote. I say when we count every vote, we can see the power that we have, because we see the changes in the inner cities and black communities that we see in Atlanta, and the communities that we see in Philadelphia, and the communities that we see in Detroit. We know that our people have power, and we know that they better watch out. And so now I'm very hopeful and I'm very optimistic, but I'm not dumb to the fact that there is so much work left to do. And I want to encourage folks as we go into this next season, as we're looking at the numbers, do not become comfortable because complacency is the enemy of accomplishment. We cannot become complacent in this moment. We must use our voices. We must continue to organize. We must continue to strategize. We must continue to mobilize and educate regardless of who is in the White House, because it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and protect one another because we have nothing to lose but our chains. And we understand the power of this moment, and we understand the power of young people in this moment. So that's why we are encouraging all of the young people that are out there watching to get involved with NAN Youth College Division, because we understand that we are not just the leaders of tomorrow, but we are the leaders of today. And so I encourage you to go to nationalactionnetwork.net by clicking on the Youth and College Division page and get involved in the action, because if folks are going to make decisions about young people, then it's critical that young people are at the table. And I am honored to come from an organization that has always led the way for young people as myself to be in these spaces. And so we want to ensure that we have our spot at the table, because guess what? If they don't give us the seat at the table, as they said, we're going to bring our own folding chair. So come on, get involved, sign up, get engaged. No justice, no justice. Give it up for yourself.
All right, Tyleek McMillan, National Youth and College Director, and you know they say the youth showed up in the election. So we thank, of course, the work of the Huddle and our college division. Right now, brothers and sisters, Dr. George A. Blackwell III, Senior Pastor of Good Neighbor Baptist Church in Newark, New Jersey, for our inspirational word. Let's welcome.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. It is good to be able to be with you on this morning. This is a marvelous day. As one has declared, this is a day the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. I don't have a whole lot of time. If you all want to get saved, can I suggest that you all visit Good Neighbor on tomorrow? On last Tuesday, late in the evening, as I've done many days over these last 4 years, I spent some time looking back over the most disruptive 4 years in public leadership that I've ever been a part of in my entire life. Moving from day to day, never knowing what the day could bring, what conversation might be the last big conversation, that what pleasure might be my last pleasure, what activity could have been my last pleasure, and what mistake could have been my last mistake. And listen, every day, also it would have seemed that someone with some kind of temporary power and authority trampled on my already fragile liberties. No sooner I had one frustration completed its run than another difficulty took its place. And one hardship was over only to be replaced by some other obstacle. And instead of a blessed assurance over these last 4 years, I've had to experience complete anxiety. Instead of comfort and peace, we've had to contend with continued perplexity. And instead of unspeakable joy, there's been these last, at least over these last 8 months, there's been continued and unspeakable sorrow. But I'm taking some comfort on this morning, knowing that this nightmare is almost over. And listen, in the process of being drawn into God's marvelous light, just like the psalmist might have said, there's been awakened in me a deep abiding desire for God's presence, God's provision, and God's protection. My soul thirsts for it. My flesh longs for it. And listen, I've been journeying through what would have been dry and thirsty lands with no water. But in retrospect, I understand this, that God has been there. This is not my strongest season of late, but God has been there. This has not been my proudest, self-reliant season, but I become accomplished to understanding that God has always been right there by my side. Yeah. And I've gone through some experience I've never dreamed I could have happened. And I've gone to some places that I've never imagined myself going to. And I've seen myself being lowered down to some depths that I never thought that I would have dipped into. But God has always been right there by my side. Just like the songwriter said, if I made my bed at the gates of hell, God was there. And so here we are now coming up out of the dark side and into the marvelous light. Oh, and it's a wonderful thing, beloveds. I understand. Let me listen. Let me bring this message a little closer to home, because I understand that many of us here over these last 4 years certainly have had our difficulties and our disappointments. For some of us, there's been complex financial problems and abrupt job changes. There have been serious physical complications. There have been overwhelming pressures and burdensome responsibilities and earthquaking and shaking events. For some of us, there's been death in the family. Death at the table, death in the job, death even in the schoolhouse. But beloved, since we've been able to count these remaining last days together, these last remaining days of failed leadership, it testifies to this one thing, and that is that it's almost over. That's right. These last 4 years, they've been full of sorrow, but it's almost over. It's been frustrated, but it's almost over. It's been dilemmas everywhere, but it's almost over. Hardship and misery, but it's almost over. Obstacles and turmoil, but with God's help, it's almost over. Let me see if I can come a little bit home before I take my seat. Let me just say this, that everybody in every lifestyle, every walk of life is been looking for this day, been waiting for this opportunity, been looking for this time when God would have answered our cry. You know, it's all right to pray, but every now and then I need a God who will incline. That means lean over in his mercy seat and hear my voice. And not just hear my voice, but answer my prayer. Oh, sure. Listen, I understand that there's been some unusual problems that we still have to solve, and there's been some difficult duties that we still have to fulfill, and there's been some frustrating decisions that we still have to make. There's some paralyzing fears that we still have to overcome. There's been some dismaying and dreary days that we still have to live through. Oh, but it's almost over. There have been some long and dark nights. And there's still that we still have to endure. But somebody in here understands that it's almost over. When I woke up this morning, I saw the bright sunshine. I had no doubt in my mind. It was almost over. And I'm not worried. I'm not worried about anything. I understand that God will show up. And God will show. Listen here, like old folk used to say, God may not come when you want him, but you'll be so glad when he get there. And I'm glad about it. Because it's just a little while longer. Just a few more things. Just a few more ticks. Yeah. Stay close, beloveds, because God's shadow of God's wings is over each and every one of us. The same God that took care of you in the past will take care of you now. The same God that took care of you and take care of you now, he'll take care of your future. He knows your needs. He knows about your cares. He knows how to handle everything that's been happening to you. He'll see you through. He'll see you come to this time when you'll be able to look back and say, oh God, how I got over. Had it not been for God's grace and God's mercy that brought me to this point, all I got to do now is just hold on. Just hold on a little while longer. To show up, all I gotta do is hold on. I remember, I'm gonna sit down. I remember, listen, my daughter, when she was 6 years old, we're trying to get down south. She's asking me, Daddy, are we there yet? I'm not yet, Daddy. 10 minutes later, Daddy, are we there yet? Not there, Daddy. 10 minutes more, Daddy, are we there? She said to me finally, she said, look, Daddy, am I gonna still be 6 years old when we get there? I'm trying to tell you, hold on. I know it's been long, but hold on, because it's almost over. I know that you're weary, but hold on, it's almost over. Beloveds, God is marching, and it's almost over.
National Action Network's Change Ensemble under the direction of our musical director, Tyrone Richardson.
Well, come on, put your hands together. Tell somebody, God, with God we can get through this. With God, with God I can. With God I can. With God I can. With God I can. Get through this. Oh, with God I can. 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 Get through this. I can move mountains. I can move mountains.
The Change Ensemble under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson, accompanied by Chris Garland. Once again, brothers and sisters, you're listening to the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally, coming to you live on WLIB 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook and nationalactionnetwork.net. We're live right here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody, tell them the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is coming up right after this break. Stay right there. We'll be right back. All right. Bill Griffin is the president of the New York City chapter and the Men's Auxiliary, and he's going to come and give us some information.
Good morning, good morning. All committee chairs should make sure that their monthly reports are sent to Sandra Mitchell immediately so that our annual reports may be submitted to National Action Network, New York City office on time this year. If you happen to need additional information or clarity of this matter, please contact Bill Griffin immediately. We still need members of the National Action Network New York City chapter to become members of the Scholars Committee. All one has to do is to come to the counter as you exit the NAN auditorium today, and I will sign you up and give you all the necessary information needed. We need a member of the NAN to head the Scholars Committee here at the House of Justice. Here at the House of Justice, we still, okay. If you happen to need additional information, let me read that. If you happen to need additional information or clarity of this matter, please contact Bill Griffin. We still need members of the National Action Network New York City chapter to become members of the Scholars Committee. All one has to do is to come to the counter as you exit the NAN auditorium, and I will sign you up and give you all the necessary information needed. We need a member of the NAN to head the Scholars Commission here at the House of Justice. One should have a mind emphasis on Black history and the daily impact of current events. Here, he or she should be one with a depth of knowledge of how the newspapers, television, radio, and other outlets place us in a subservient role in what we must do to solve this problem. Further, we want to change the narrative through sponsored workshops, Zoom classes, special guest speakers with a wealth of knowledge in the Black experience. If you feel you would like to help the Scholars Committee draw up this special series, please see me after the rally today. I will be at the counter as you exit the House of Justice. The Education Committee is one of the most important committees here at the House of Justice. It pivots around just about every aspect of our culture, and the absence of it can cripple generations if left out of the circle of learning. One cannot think in logic terms without understanding the meaning of education. Education is not how much one has retained in one's head, but it's the ability to find that one doesn't know. That is one of the major reasons why we all should be a member of the Education Committee. We constantly need to be educated and re-educated because education is really a lifelong process. Please stop by the counter and speak with Sandra Mitchell as you exit the House of Justice. Just a few words about the virtual HBCU College Fair that I forgot, held on Saturday, October the 24th, 2020. As you may not have remembered, it was sponsored by NAN's Youth Huddle in partnership with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. There were 16 colleges represented that made excellent presentations. The event was live streamed on Facebook with more than 1,300 views. Hats off for the NAN Youth Huddle and the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. Please join our monthly meeting. The conference call number is 701-802-5093. The access code, of course, is 2231442. The Political Action Committee will meet on Saturday, November 28, 2020 at 11:30 a.m. Purpose of the meeting, debriefing of NAN PAC 5th Saturday Virtual Voter Education Forum Series with the NAN Second Chance Committee and planning our annual Kwanzaa celebration with the Second Chance Committee. Thank you for listening. And please enjoy the balance of your day. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Stan. We'll be coming back to you in just a few seconds. We're back, brothers and sisters. You're listening to the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally, coming to you live on WLIB, 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook and nationalactionnetwork.net. We're live right here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. The Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton is in the house. And right now, brothers and sisters, I want you to get on your feet, put your hands together at home for the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. 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 Fist bump the person next to you. Tell them you love them. Change Ensemble, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally for you that are here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, you that are watching us on nationalactionnetwork.net, and certainly those that will be joining us on Impact Television, we are happy to be with you again to give our report for the week on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy. Our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Certainly we enjoyed our inspirational word by Reverend Dr. George Blackwell. And we're glad to have our college and youth director with us, Minister Tyleek McMillan.
Let me say that we dedicate this broadcast today to the memory of Sister Hester Esau Snipes, who is the mother-in-law of Eric Garner. Many of you know Eric's widow, Esau, lost her mother this week. And she's been here many times with Esau and her grandchildren, and Emerald and Eric Jr. In fact, Eric Jr. was here last week, here just about every week. And so we lost her this week, and she'll be funeralized this week. Let me thank all of you that came out and you that could not come out because of pandemic protocol for the homegoing services for Brother Haru Plunkett. That was this week at Unity, and I did the eulogy. Certainly, National Action Network owes a tremendous amount of gratitude to the long-standing and long-serving work of Brother Haru Plunkett. That's right, give him a big hand. As you look back over life, there are some people that you meet on your journey that make an impression and an imprint on you. And Brother Haru was one of those that you thank God that he and you crossed paths as you went on your journey. Some folks you thank God for. Some folks you ask God why. But the old folk used to sing, you'll understand it better by and by. Now some folk, I ain't got to the by and by yet, I still don't understand. But I thank God for having known and worked and been honored to serve with Brother Haru Plunkett. Let me say that it is imperative that we in the tri-state area understand that as we are dealing with this pandemic, and some of the relief has been taken off in terms of letting you know, do certain things, don't get irresponsible. Because this third wave is going all over the country and will come back here. So I just want folk to be real clear that because we cannot sit out and eat on the sidewalk and try to act like it ain't cold. It's pretty nice today, but I can't understand these folks be sitting out in 30 degrees ordering a hot meal and can't stay hot. I don't know what's wrong. I was riding home one night and it was raining, and they were sitting out in the cold, under the rain, holding up an umbrella eating. I said, they ain't never heard of home delivery. But just because New York is partially open and New Jersey is partially open, do not follow the protocols. I wanted to stress that before I go in, because I'm going to get into the election stuff and a lot of stuff, but I want us to be safe. Wear your face mask and be socially distant. Don't do the Donald Trump. Do the right thing. And take care of yourself and your family. I tell folk to come around me, wear your mask in public. If you don't want to wear it for you, you're going to wear it for me or stay away from me. So, I think that, you know, people need to be reminded of that. A lot of churches are virtual, and that's the right thing to do. And those, when we gather, we even as our rallies, we set the chairs distant and we tell everybody wear your face mask because we want people to be responsible. Let me also say that I was happy this week to participate, since we've been doing the book tour of my book, Rise Up. None meant more than this last week where I did a round table with our young people in Huddle. And they had a big turnout, filled the House of Justice, and asked the questions that they wanted of me. And let me tell you something, they're very, very sharp young people coming up in National Action Network. I was telling Brother Malik, Minister Malik, that the whole, Minister Talik, I said Malik, the whole level of consciousness among our young people in our youth department today has been probably the best group of young people in NAN that I've seen in the 29 years. And he is building a college division, many of them working right here with Ashley and Huddle. And one of the reasons that it becomes important is that you build intergenerational. There is and I often talk about this, but it's a reason. Let's welcome Impact TV Family Watch. I often talk about it, but it can't be stressed enough that you cannot allow our community to be engaged in generational conflict rather than generational continuity. Generations ought to flow from one to the other, not fight from one to the other. And a lot of us get into this trick of generational conflict. And it is a trick of those that want to have fights going on. One of the ways to destroy any people is to get them to destroy themselves. You tear up any organization, any movement, any people, if you can get them to turn on each other. And I think that that's one of the reasons I was so impressed with the young students now in Huddle. All over the country, by the way. A large part of our big march in Washington in August were young people. In fact, in January, the cover of National Geographic magazine, one of the iconic magazines in this country, is doing one of their cover photos is going to be the National Action Network's march on Washington August 28th. But one of the things that you get from young people is also we're coming into an age now where young people are asking questions because they really want to see real answers and not just have people playing on their emotions. You know, you go through a season where people just call a march, call a rally, call it this, call it that. But after a while, people start saying, all right, we've done that, now what? And if you don't have a movement that is structured, you will be just as long as you can keep people's emotions going. That's part of what's happened to Donald Trump. Trump has ran on getting a lot of whites to feel that they coming to get me. They coming to get you. If you don't go with me, they gonna come up in the suburbs and drag you out your house, gonna be crime. you better use me to protect you from them, protect you from them. And after a while, that runs out. They ain't coming to get you. In fact, a lot of them is moving into our inner cities with us. Talking about they come to the suburbs, they done coming in the city. But Trump don't know about gentrification. That don't work no more. And if you've got to use fear on the other side to organize, you will never be able to organize. That's why I was saying to the young people at the meeting that there is a difference between organizers and mobilizers. I want y'all to get this now. Some folk, when there is an issue, Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, George Floyd, can mobilize crowds, but they can't organize it. Because once the crowd is there, they can't take them nowhere. The difference between Dr. King's movement, who we come out to name, and others was that they mobilized. They get folk all excited. But then they couldn't organize them to change what was going on in the social order. So that's why in NAN, we deal with policy and legislation as well as demonstration. So when we marched August 28th, 200,000 people, and said that we're here to not only deal with all the families, and all the families were there. George Floyd family, Breonna Taylor's family, Ahmaud Arbery's mom and daddy, everybody there. Eric Garner's mother, everybody. But we're not just here because we mobilize. We're here to organize around passing the George Floyd Policing and Justice Act, passing the John Lewis Act on voter registration, or voter rights. Now, that brings the demonstration into legislation, that brings the mobilization into organization. Where am I going with this? This week in Georgia, because of the strong vote, you're now going to have 2 senatorial runoffs in January. If they win, the Democrats, it gives them the majority in the Senate. And Chuck Schumer, who y'all know come through here all the time, would be the majority leader. Well, we want Schumer and them, if they get the majority, to put the George Floyd bill and the John Lewis bill in front of the Senate and use the majority to bring about legislation. If that is the deal, then it gives us a reason to steal with resources and all in the runoff. See, too many people engage in politics like it's a fan club. People call me, Reverend, you with me? No, I ain't with you. I'm with a legislative agenda. I need you on my side. Well, I got to see if you're on my side. Personality politics is dangerous. And that's what Trump has ruined the Republican Party, because he made it a cult following of personality. It became a personality cult rather than a political party. So they all start bowing to the image of Trump. So what happened, Blackwell, is once Trump started losing, they don't know what to do. Because they're not built now on everything they stood for. They went out the window. I was reading a op-ed piece in this morning New York Times. Evangelicals. A lot of y'all that watch us on Impact know about the evangelical. The evangelical movement is very interesting history. Evangelicals made their impact in politics in the 70s with a candidate named Jimmy Carter. It did not start as a right-wing Republican thing. It made its impact with a Sunday school teacher from Plains, Georgia, named Jimmy Carter. And a lot of evangelicals, white evangelicals, supported Jimmy Carter because he represented Sunday school teacher pro using his faith to do the right thing. That's how we started looking and seeing their involvement. If you go back to the 60s, Charlie, there was the wedding of the church and the movement, which is why Dr. King called the organization he founded after the Montgomery boycott the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. So you had in the black community the marriage between faith and movement, and you had in the white community the marriage between faith and doing the right thing. Somewhere along the road, people intercepted and infiltrated and took the movement another way and became a movement that became separate from the black church. And they took the Jimmy Carter influence and ran it into just a movement on 2 or 3 issues that they could politicize, rather than a party that they were going to have a 2-party system. So on the black side, they started preaching against the black church, calling pastors chicken-eating preachers. Well, everybody eat chicken. That's why you got soul food restaurants. Preacher wasn't the only one eating chicken. But if you start building and start proselytizing and start putting in young folks' head that the reason they were getting less than quality education, reason why they couldn't get a job, reason why they wasn't doing well is because of chicken-eating preachers. And white government leadership were not responsible. It was the church was in your way. And grandma was dumb for going to church. And daddy and mama were wrong to put you in church. So you begin fighting the institution that your folk built. First institution in America that was built and owned by black folks was the black church. Now I know a lot of our super duper progressives don't want me to say that. So I'll say it again. The first institution owned and operated and controlled by black folk was the black church. When we got out of slavery, we had started our church services under slavery. When we got out, we started building our churches. And it was Richard Allen founding the AME Church. And Charles Harrison Mason, Church of God in Christ. Those were the first institutions we controlled. Out of those institutions came historic black colleges. Out of those institutions came black banks and black businesses. Out of those institutions came political candidates, put 22 members, blacks, in Reconstruction in Congress. Because they had their own base. You can't organize your community from other folks' base. Because they will control where it goes. Now, the black church had to keep up with the times. And they infiltrated the black church. And they bought off some in the black church. So as we got into the mid-20th century, they started giving black churches poverty money, daycare money, running you up in debt to break down your power. And one of the missions of this generation must be to liberate and empower again our churches and unite it back with our community. If you have a subsidized church, you're going to have a distorted theology. Because they're going to say, well, I can't talk about that because it'll mess with my funding. Stephen Marshall talking about this week, they went to the NYCHA houses. Well, they need to do something about the budgets with NYCHA and the care for the people in NYCHA. But if you getting housing money, you can't preach about that. Policemen harassing your members. But if you standing up to the cops, mess with your daycare money, you can't preach about that. And to make an excuse about why you ain't preaching, you start attacking me because I'm free enough to say what you won't say. I've had people come here, say, Reverend Al, we need your help. I said, all right, go see the Christ man. My pastor sent me. Go hold it a minute. You go to church, yeah. You give offering, yeah. You pay your tithes, yeah. So you pay your tithes to your pastor and he sent you to me. I'm going to help you, but go back and ask him, why are you tithing? Bringing into the storehouse where the meat's supposed to feed you where you store. We've got to respect the black church, but the black church got to be free to be the black church. And if you're not going to be free, then take down God's name and put up that you're a subsidiary of the city or the state that you're in. But don't use God to subsidize your life. So the evangelicals did the same thing on the white side. They took that Christian-based, civically involved people like Jimmy Carter and said, well, no, we're going to change the politics of it. Because the whole thing now be about anti-abortion, anti-civil rights, anti-gay rights, anti-women's rights. We going to use it all to do that. And they went, starting with the Reagan years, built the moral majority. Like it's moral to discriminate against people. Like it's moral to tell people how they can live. And they became a political force, leaving behind the ethics and the values that they were supposed to represent. And they get all the way till now, where they have supported someone who has no ethics and no morals. Everything they preached against when they started the evangelical movement, Donald Trump represents everything. Every law that they preached and beat you down, he has violated them publicly. Yet the evangelical leaders supported them because they went from belief to politics. now you see the evangelical leaders getting busted. Getting uncovered. One thing I learned when I was a little boy, when I was a boy preacher, Adam Clayton Powell, I got to be around him for about a year and a half before he retired, went to Birmingham. I was only 12, 13 years old. And one thing Adam Clayton Powell told me that I didn't understand it then because I was very young at that time. So some things you learn over time, Blackwell, that you don't get then. But he told me, he used to call me kid, and I'd ride around, and Jack Packard had a station wagon, Adam used to ride in, and Odell Clark was the deacon, and Odell was kind of liked me. And they would call me kid. And Adam Clayton Powell told me, kid, as you grow older, you're going to have flaws. You're going to make mistakes. But always be open about your flaws. Because nobody can expose what you don't hide. Now, that didn't mean nothing at 12. Because I wasn't doing nothing that couldn't be exposed other than I might cheat on a math test or something. Y'all laughing because y'all done cheated on some math tests. But as you get older, then you understand that. And what they do is they now are exposing not just the flaws, because we all got flaws. They're exposing that they are doing what they've been preaching against. It's one thing for you to do something. We can forgive that, because we all done something. It's another thing if we find out you've been doing what you've been condemning me for doing. Now that's another thing. And that is what's happening now to the evangelical movement. Some of their leaders are being caught with hypocrisy. And at the same time, this vote come up. Now, look at this vote. Joe Biden, who came into national prominence as part of the centrist in the Democratic Party. In 1972, Shirley Chisholm ran for president of the United States, lost to George McGovern, who McGovern was the original progressive wing of the party, white progressive. He went from 72 to 76, where Jimmy Carter won for president and became the Democratic nominee. Now, you'd have thought, why did I go back to 72? I want y'all to get this. You would have thought the conservatives, the right wing, would have learned a lesson in 72. Because there's a spiritual interpretation of what happened. What are you talking about, Shelton? 68, Martin Luther King was killed. April 4th, 1968. June, Robert Kennedy was killed. 68, same year. There was a movement all over the country around stopping the Vietnam War. I was a kid going from junior high school to high school, and we was marching against the war. There were riots all over the country when they killed Dr. King. In the midst of that mobilization, people mad they killed Dr. King, people mad they killed Kennedy. Nobody organized, and in the lack of organization, that November, Richard Nixon was elected. All of the movement wasn't organized. Conservative come in, Richard Nixon. Nixon, who Kennedy had beaten 60, went on to California, ran for governor and got beat there. He was damaged goods, but he rode in on the crest of white fear. They rioting, they burning down the country. Y'all need me. Law and order. You see, they burning up everything. You need me. They didn't need him in 60. Wouldn't even take him at home in 62. But he came in to save them from seeing the fires burning up stuff. And they voted for him. 72, he ran for re-election. Right back to my point against McGovern. Nixon had the whole country supporting him. But when you know in your internal thoughts that you are not fit to be where you are and that you're insecure, they let McGovern haunt them to the point that they beat themselves. What do you mean by that? Nixon was ahead of every poll, popular and all that, but he knew who he was and who he wasn't. That's right. And it wasn't enough that he was going to win the election. He going to make sure, and they sent some boys to the Watergate Hotel to break in and find out what McGovern was doing to win for president. So let me tell you something. When you are wicked, you can't live with yourself. That's why David said in the 37th Psalm, fret not thyself because of evildoers. You ain't got to be afraid of people wicked. They gonna undo themselves. You know, there was a time people do stuff to me and I think about how we pay them back. I don't think about that no more. Let them alone. Because God will take care of them. That's why the Bible says, vengeance is mine. And God got a way of beating you that I could never beat you anyway. So here's Nixon that played on white backlash and white fear. Let some guys go break into man's hotel who couldn't beat him if he tried to get some stuff out of Watergate. Nixon won. McGovern only won one state out of 50. I mean, what you want to steal his stuff for? But it was the Watergate break-in and lying about it that brought Nixon down. Nixon was impeached for lying about a break-in that he didn't need. Caught up on his own tapes. 76, Jimmy Carter come in. After Jimmy Carter, here come an actor from Hollywood who'd been governor of California, Ronald Reagan. Went through 2 terms of Ronald Reagan. And the McGovern forces that had been defeated. Jimmy Carter had been defeated. 84, Jesse Jackson runs. 88, run again and start building the left wing again of the Democratic Party. A Southern group got together in the Democratic Party called the Democratic Leadership Council. They said, well, we don't want to bring the party too far to the left. Jackson and them has got them too far over there like McGovern. We're centrist. We a little Republican, but we Democrats. We a little for fighting crime and not fighting police and not giving the poverty money. We a little Republican-like, but we Democrats. The chair of that party, or that group, of the DLC, was the governor of Arkansas, Bill Clinton. Partner was Senator from Tennessee, Al Gore. One of the members, Jim, was Joe Biden. They were the centrists of the party. As they went in, Clinton won in '92. One of the ways they won was convincing whites that they were not going to be controlled by the left and by blacks. That's why he did that thing where he jumped on Sister Soldier. That was to prove they don't tell me what to do. 192 put out the crime bill as a result of Lynn Byers, a basketball star, getting killed in the crack epidemic. A lot of black leaders and black caucus supported the crime bill. Wasn't just Biden. And some of us, few of us, stood up and said, wait a minute. This is going to lock up too many people for a long period of time. They called us the wrong side of the party. But as God would have it, where I'm going with this, Talib, is that sometimes things happen so you can affirm who you are. It was not popular in the 90s to stand up to the crime bill. It was not popular to stand up to the welfare reform bill. This all came from the centrist Democrats now, with black leadership support. Hello? Now, but as time went on, and people began seeing their relatives during 20, 30 years for a vial of crack, truth crushed the earth but rise again. If you stand up for what is right, right is going to get the point across sooner or later, whether you like it or not. So I live to see those that were with the crime bill and with the centrists have to turn around and come and deal with us. And as they started trying to find their way back, I ran president in 2004. The next election came somebody who was a little more centrist than me, but not all the way with them, and he won, Barack Obama. And he took a centrist man, Joe Biden, to unite the party and made him his vice president, where he brought everybody together. I would sit in the room at meetings and Biden would say, we made mistakes with the crime bill, unintended consequences. And I saw as it changed and saw as he began to understand that we were not out of line. We were trying to keep them in line. Same time, young black lady come out of an HBCU school in Howard University named Kamala Harris, raised by a single mama. Went to law school and became the DA in San Francisco, Attorney General of California. She was trying to calibrate between these laws. But that's why you can't go by just the daily paper. You got to read the time. All of this was happening at the same time. Then Obama came in, Affordable Care Act, and dealing with mass incarceration. At the same time we're making these moves here, the evangelicals have kidnapped the Republican right. But what do they need? They need another Hollywood figure. They need a star. Why do they need a star? Where did they get that from, Sharpton? Because that's what Ronald Reagan was. And the way they took evangelicals from Jimmy Carter kind of way is they brought a Hollywood star. They went to Central Casting and got them a star. And Ronald Reagan, who used to be a cowboy in the movies, had the charisma to attract people. So here we are now in 2013-14. Obama done start moving the country back toward dealing with some civil rights and some police reform and letting folk out of jail. Right here, National Action Network, Hardy and them negotiated commutations. We're moving back on track. And the evangelicals need a star. So they go to Hollywood this time. They went to television and got the star of The Apprentice. Who had never run for nothing, never read nothing, Wouldn't know policy if it was on the pillow while he was sleeping. But he had star power. Millions watched him on The Apprentice. He was perfect. Because he didn't believe in nothing, so they could tell him, this is what you believe in. Wasn't like he had to be converted. He wasn't converted in the first place. So you ain't got to change somebody that don't believe in nothing. And he became a symbol for them. And the party of the Republicans went from a political party till it became a cult of his personality. What they wanted was to reverse this trajectory that I told you that had started back in the 80s all the way through. What did they get for it? Well, they got 3 people put on the Supreme Court. They got 200 federal judges. They got prosecutors all over the country. Now Trump is bouncing off walls in the White House. They don't care about that. He served a purpose. And we're sitting up here, 3 days out, counting votes, worried about where it's going to go. Trump in the White House talking about fraud and they can't find none. Talking about they're going to do this and that and they can't find nothing. And the centrist that had run away from us is now standing up there with a black woman by his side. About to bring this thing back another way. That's why I kept marching and kept going and kept agitating. And those that would tell me, why don't y'all stop? Why don't y'all give up? But I read when I was a little boy in Sunday school, those that wait on the Lord. They would call me. I've been NBC every night doing commentaries and all about the election. They talk about this taking too long. How long you think this is going to be, Real Mal? They keep voting Pennsylvania late, Georgia late, North Carolina late. It's too long. I said, but yeah, it might be long to you. Yeah. But if you had to wait 400 years to even drink a cup of coffee at a 5 and 10 cent store, if you had to wait 400 years to be able to legally marry your wife, if you had to wait 400 years to be able to name your children after you, I can wait a few days. I've been waiting a long time. A few days won't matter. I wondered why, when Trump was elected, I tried, Blackwell, to figure out what was this spiritually. I know Donald Trump, 35 years. Know he was big. Fought him for that brother right there, Central Park Five. Why would this happen? How could this happen? It took me days to even believe he really won. I kept going to sleep, waking up, saying they're going to tell me it was a mistake. You know, you get into bed and close your eyes real tight and then wake up and say, tell me it was a lie. I hit the remote, TV said, nope, he really president. I go back to sleep. Could this happen? But Reverend Stephen Marshall went to the book. Any good preacher hardly goes to the book when he can't figure nothing out. And there was, I want you to take out this, because there's something in the book of Job that explains to me where we at. Go.
Job 9:1.
Job 9:1, start.
Does Job fear God for nothing? Satan replied. Have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything that he has?
Now, Job was a righteous man. Job had done everything God told him to do. And the devil and God was having a conversation. Y'all read the whole scripture, 8 chapters well. Satan and God was having a conversation. And Satan said, you know, I bet you I can do more than you think I can do. And God said, have you tried my servant Job? Can you imagine you in the middle of a bargaining between God and the devil and you don't even know it? Why would God let Satan mess with Job? One, it tests Job. But the other thing is it shows Satan you ain't got all the power you think you got. Try my servant Job. Why? Because I know what Job feels. I know what he believes. I hear his prayers every morning. Go ahead.
You have blessed the work of his hands, so that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But now stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face.
You gave him everything. Made him prosperous. Blessed his labor. Where he's got wealth, he got money, got everything he wants. But I bet you if you take it away, he'll curse you. Read.
The Lord said unto Satan, very well then, everything he has in your power, but the man himself do not lay a finger.
You can have everything he has, but you can't touch his soul. Now what is your point here, Sharpton? You had everything. Black president, black first lady, 2 black girls growing up in the White House, letting folk out of jail, standing up against police brutality. You had everything, and you stopped marching. You stopped standing up. You stopped organizing. You stopped building businesses. You forgot who you was. And God let Satan use something to test you. Said, all right, I'm going to take all that from you. I'll let Trump come in. I'm going to take what you got. And Satan said, I bet you if I bring them back down to a bigot in the White House, they'll curse you and turn from you. But some of us, like Job, wouldn't turn on God. Keep reading.
Verse 13, one day when Job's sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the older brother's house.
His children were eating and drinking wine at the oldest one's house.
A messenger came.
Some of us got children drink a little wine every now and then.
A messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby. And the Sabians attacked and made off with them. They put the servants to sword, and I am the only one who escaped to have told you. While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said,
this is the second message.
The fire of God fell from the heavens and burned up all the sheep and the servants, and I am the only one who has escaped.
All right, now you done lost this, now you done lost the sheep. Your money's gone. Go ahead.
Verse 17, while he still was speaking, another messenger came and said, the Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties and swept down on your camels and made off with them as well.
Your camel's gone.
They put the servants to sword, and I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you. Verse 18, while he was still speaking, yet another messenger came and said, your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at your oldest son's house, when suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck down the 4 corners of the house. It collapsed on them.
Now you lost all your herd, you lost all your cattle, you lost all your sheep, and now your children was in the house. And the house went down and killed all your children.
Verse 20, at this time, Job got up, tore off his robe, and shaved his head, then fell to the ground and worshiped and said, naked I came into the world from my mother's womb, and naked I shall depart. And the Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. Verse 22, in all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing.
He lost everything, stripped down to nothing, broke, used to be wealthy, no heirs to whatever he would have had, they all dead. And the reaction was not to turn on God. The reaction was not to turn on the church like some of y'all did the black church. The reaction was that he fell on his knees and said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. You read on where his own wife said, you're shameful now, you're disgraceful now. They're laughing at us now. We used to be big shots. Now we're nobody. We used to go to the White House. Now Trump got barricades built up all over town. Why don't you just curse God and die? He said, I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to wait for my change to come. I know some of y'all are tired of waiting on the vote count. I know y'all talking about why don't they end this, but I think about George Floyd. I think about Breonna Taylor. I think about Ahmaud Arbery. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to sit right here and wait for my change to come. For the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. One of the young folk asked me, through it all, through all the years you've been out here, why haven't you ever backed up? Why haven't you ever got dismayed? And I thought about that song, Crank It Up For Me. I thought about the song lyrics start, why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart feel lonely? When heaven and long for heaven and home. When Jesus is my portion. A constant friend is he. Reason I never gave up. Reason I never backed down. Is I always knew his eyes was on the sparrow. I know, I'm not guessing, I know. When nobody was on my side, I know he watches me. His eye is on the sparrow. I know he watches me.
Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? And why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, a
the movement. There may be someone today that hears us on the radio, sees some of our activities on television or social media, but never joined the organization. If you're here and never signed up, this is your day. This is your hour to step forward and join National Action Network. Just come down either aisle to me and we'll sign you up right now, right here. This is time for you to be a part of this justice family. Come on, everybody singing. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. We want justice. We want freedom. Everybody sing it. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. All right. Got 2 new members today. I guess the rest of y'all members. I want y'all to support all of the committee activities you hear Brother Griffith talk about. We have so many different activities. As you join and also participate. We try to build a strong organization. Look like Biden is gonna get in, so we're gonna try to get stuff done. We have legislation to pass. I told Biden and Kamala that they win and get inaugurated on January 20th. January 21st, I'm gonna be right on their case to get stuff done. That's why we need a strong organization all over the country. I was glad one of our national board members, Alicia Reese, in one of the founders of our Cincinnati chapter, Bishop Hilton, she ran for county commissioner and won the other night. So our chapters all over the country is working, and I'll be getting on Sister Jefferson, Katrina, and Brother Marshall, working with Brother Griffith. I don't want chapters doing better than y'all doing right here in New York, where the national headquarters is. I want everybody working. All right, let's raise our offering. Glad to see Al Zama. I ain't seen you in a while. I got a note you was coming. He's been with us a long time. When I did those 90 days in jail, he was there. That's right, he's been there 29 years. That's how old we are. All right, I'm gonna raise our offering, and I want everybody to give to the best of their ability. I need about 10 people, about 10, that give $100 or more to come quickly. The Guardians, $100. Okay, give it to him. Thank you so much. Bring me gift. Winston Gilchrist, $100. God bless you. Thank you. Brother Kerry Weiss, exonerated 5, $100. Brother Milton, of course, $100. Bertha Bell, $100. Brother Jiggaday, $100. Membership, $220. Brother Philip Vaughn, great supporter, Brother Philip Vaughn, $100. All right, 50s. Brother Derek Ferguson, $50. Oh, Gregory, yeah, Brother Gregory, $50. This is my schoolmate. We went to junior high school together. $50. Brother Wayne, $50. Pastor Doug Williams, who was here with us not long ago, $50. Philip Vaughn back again, he gave 100 night, come back with $50. Reverend Dr. Blackwell, who's preached this morning, did an 8-minute turnaround sermon, giving $100. Reverend Carolyn, $50. Now I was looking at Derek. Derek gave $50. Derek worked for us. I don't know how he got $50 left. I know he don't make that much money. But he made sure I announced it off the radio because his wife would be on him. Say, you did what? And you made what? 20s. 20. I like that kente cloth down. Yes, that's beautiful. Brother Vaughn came back again. That's a real support. Now everybody, whatever you have, $1, $5, $10. Certainly, as we get the particulars, we will let everyone know about the services for Esau Garner's mother. So the organization will be in support. Also, I acknowledge a brother from Al's Army lost his brother this week. And we certainly, he's in our prayers as he leaves the rally, but he lost his brother this week. Been with us 29 years. All right. Let us get ready to go. You're in our prayers. I was talking about you, and Lord, you lost your brother. We're praying for you. You that want to get a book, one of my books, can get that at the counter. And I will come back out and sign them for you before you leave. You that want to get a book, I know they sell them in the stores, $25, you sell them for $15 here. And a lady asked me the other day, can I get a discount from the 15? I said, yeah. I said, yeah, you only have to give 16. All right, let us stand. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about my members. I'm about ready to go sign books. Bring my new members down. Goldie got me going too quick here. Eugene Eddings is our new member today. Certainly, we welcome you to full membership at this moment of National Action Network. We're glad and proud that you've come and joined to be a part of this family. Face the audience and welcome him to the National Action Network. That's right, show him some love. All right, remain standing. Amazing grace, how the sound that sings forever. Repeat after me, we're an African people, robbed of our names, our language, our families, our self-respect. But we shall rise, never to fall again. Up, you mighty race, we can accomplish what we will. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Fist bump with the president.